is about the conception of an idea. So in working with very indigent families, what we found.
So since they died, I never knew my status at all. I never knew anything to do with HIV. I was in class 2.
A very wonderful, marriage, and things are colorful. Yeah. The social media is colored with a lot of, luxury things, a lot of goodies, and, she feels very...
Thank you for having me in the house, man. I love being in the house. I like being in the house with like-minded individuals. Because the more like-minded individuals you got in the house, the stronger the house is.
So work app's, 6.5 years in the making now. So it's been a long... I love what you just said, because there's a gap in expectation. So what happens is, when you're an employee and you're going in, and there's an expectation from the business or the employer side to behave in a particular manner, right?
And because of the what we call machismo, like some pride, you want to be a man, the bravado in you tries to make you look like you are okay. And in the process of acting
right waiting for me. And it's same in my Facebook feed. Positivity, things that I need to hear, people that I want to see and what I want to hear from are there. So take a look at your personal algorithms in life. Who are you surrounding yourself with?
For those that are watching this that don't know this yet, John Gora is my brother from another mother, and I love this man, and I love this man's heart and content, and I'm a huge fan of this show. And so yeah, no, I understand. It's your evening, it's my morning, but I live in your world.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to One Talk podcast this evening with our guest tonight, Melody Chadamoyo, who is the CEO and founder of Heart Passion Institute, also the author of Why Self-Love is the Key to True Love. And this is very important, and we are going to get it from the author of this book herself, discussing and also allowing us to understand what exactly is a true love. Melody is also a creator and of the Healing from Heart cause. She has helped many women across the world in relationships, frustrations as well. And we can also see she helps women who have been hurt heal their emotional scar tissue so that they can have their ideal happy relationship with the man of their dreams. This is what every woman wants around the world. She's also a relationship expert who contributes on Your Tango online magazine. And Melody is currently in Dublin, Ireland, where she's staying with her grown daughters and her sister. She has a second home in Zimbabwe, and that is where she grew up, and that makes her what she is. Therefore, Melody, I would just like to welcome you to this podcast for the first time before I tell my listeners how we met and how we came up with this episode or discussion tonight.
Thank you so much, John. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Mm-hmm. And those kind words you have said as well.
It's my pleasure to understand that you call them kind words. We've got to be kind to the world so that the world can be what we really need it to be. So Melody is a great friend of mine. I met Melody a few weeks ago through her sister, who is a great friend. We've been working together on LinkedIn and also on and offline. And that's Nelta, those who know Nelta Chadamoyo on LinkedIn. And after that connection, we had a small discussion, and I realized that her life experience with the work she's doing right now is a great thing that we can learn from. And that's how we came up with this discussion tonight, where she's going to share with us a lot of things in real life situation and what we call the traditional life, which everyone wants, of course, because, when you look around the world, everybody wants to be somebody else. No one wants to be what they are. Everybody is not happy with themselves. So this is also translated to love, and that's what Melody wrote in her book, Why Self-Love is the Key to True Love. So a true story of love, passion, heartache, loss, self-discovery, and the lessons that you learned along the way, Melody, is what we need to know and to relate with the life that we live nowadays. And just as an introduction, what and why do you think that there is these two loves? There is a true love and there is a love that doesn't exist.
Because we have created this world where in order for you to love somebody, they need to give you something. So it's a exchange. Give you something. I'll give you an example. When even now I'm a widow, and so before I started dating as a teenager, when you had a boyfriend and you introduced your boyfriend to your friends, you know the first question they ask, you tell them I've got a boyfriend. What does he do? That's the first thing. Because if he's not in university or in college or something, he's not worth your time. There is a problem there already. Because when I look at human beings, all of us, we have that which will make us alive. I say that I'm a widow. I saw my husband's life leaving him. He was in my arms. And sorry to start with the very sad part of the story, but that emphasized to me the importance of life. That what is inside us is way bigger and loving and wonderful than we perceive it to be. Because we look at people and we look at what they have and we think that's what's important about them. It's not. What's important about you is that you are walking on this earth. You are here, you're breathing, you're living with the air or the heart or the love that comes from your Creator. Remember, our lives were breathed into us. If you have read the Bible or if you believe in God, whatever, in all part of religion, everybody knows God put life into us, which means God's life lives in us, which means every living person that you come across is as worthy as you are.
What a wonderful sentiments over there, Melody. And this is what makes you a great coach in terms of, teaching people about real life. This is what we are missing in the world today. Everything today is a photocopy, if I might call it so. So we are pasting things. For example, I open my social media and I see a friend of mine who used to study together is driving a car maybe. I also want to drive that car, but I don't know what it took him to drive the car. And that's the same thing that you are trying to explain to us here, Melody. And digging deep into your book, Melody, you talk about love and marriage. And this is very important, especially to the teenagers. And you started with your life as a teenager. When you were in a relationship, and you're telling us the first question that you were being asked was, what does he do?
Yeah.
Therefore, there is this problem and misunderstanding, or how we misconceive this love and marriage, sorry. What do you say when somebody's planning, maybe you're in a relationship with a lady or with a guy, and you introduce your guy to your family or to your friends, and you're planning to get into something that is going to be a lasting relationship. And for a lasting relationship to be there should be marriage.
Yeah.
So is it love that will lead you to this marriage? Or is there something else that should lead one to marriage in a relationship, Melody?
I know now. Before I would have said yes, it's love and that's enough. And now I know it's not. Because in my case, I was lucky. I had an idea of what I was looking for in terms of, I wanted a man who was kind, who was generous, who was intelligent, because I'm smart. I think very quickly, and I need somebody who gets me. because it's very frustrating to have a conversation with somebody you need to explain yourself to every other. And I had that before. My first boyfriend was like that, and things did not work out. And I stopped respecting him, which if you are a woman and you don't respect your man, that's the end of that relationship. So to go back to your question, I met this man, fell in love with him. We dated for 5 years because we were both in school and then in college and stuff like that. And then we got married and everything fell apart. Like, I was frustrated. I was unhappy. I was depressed. I was looking at him like, who is this person and where did he come from? I thought I knew everything about him, but now I don't know anything. And I really think I've married the wrong guy here. I need to find someone else who suits me, who understands me, who gets me the way I want. And then we had a baby at that time, with a young baby. She was still a baby. And I was thinking, I can't live like this. I really can't live like this for the rest of my life. Like, rest of my life is a long time of this misery. What am I going to do? And I actually thought the solution was to just, find somebody else to love, because that's easy. And I think we had migrated then to Ireland from Zimbabwe. So there was nobody to help me with childcare. I was doing my master's at the time. I had a full-time job and I was a mom. So I didn't have anyone to mind the baby, and it's very expensive. Childcare in Europe is it's crazy expensive. So and it's difficult to find. So I had to think about that. I also had to think about the fact that leaving my husband meant I was also punishing my daughter, because she idolized her dad. She really, like, her face, even at that age, would light up every time she saw him. So I was weighing the fact that I loved my daughter and I didn't want her to suffer. And I also knew leaving my husband was going to punish him if I left with our baby, because he also really loved our daughter. But I couldn't live like that. So I started thinking, okay, maybe I need to find another solution besides, leaving him, in order for me to have peace at this time. Because my long-term goal was, as soon as I finished my master's and I could afford somebody's childcare, then I would leave. But now I needed to be happy now, because that was like 4 years down the line. It was not good enough. So I started looking at what makes a relationship work. Why is it some people relationships last and some don't? What's up with that? And I started reading books like Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and Getting the Love You Want. And then I noticed something consistent in those two books and even the papers I was reading. I didn't know who I was anymore. I stopped being that spunky, cheeky, funny, crazy girl I used to be, because I thought now I was a mom. I took over the whole house. My husband had no space at all, like, to implement anything. Everything he did, I criticized because he wasn't doing it my way. And I was literally copying it, not even from my mom, because she never did that, from my friends, from TV, from all sorts of things that were around me. And he was also miserable. So we were two really amazing people, miserable with each other. But as I discovered me again, and I started by going to the gym, which seems so simple, but it was something I was doing for me. And I would come back and I would feel happy. And I started meeting with my friends, which I used to do before we got married, and, just having a laugh and not looking at my husband, expecting him to be my everything. Because no one can fit that role. It's too demanding. No one can be your everything. That's why there are 7 billion people in the world. We need each other for many different reasons. And as I started to do that, we just started to connect again. We stopped fighting. And because I didn't react anymore, I made a decision. When he does something I don't like, I'm not going to go anymore. And I'm very good with words. Like seriously, when I want to make someone feel small, I can do it like that. But I chose not to. And so one day he did it, because I was married to a genius, and he was very smart and a scientist. So he did something that triggered me, that he knew was going to make me go explode in 2 seconds. And I didn't explode. I counted to 10 inside myself, and I said, can we talk about this later? I'm not in a position to talk to you right now. And he kind of looked at me like, what's going on here? And he walked away. And then later on, when I had calmed down, I went over and I said, can we talk about that issue? And we talked about it calmly, like adults. And I did not call him names. I did not insult him in any way. And the issue was resolved. But then he had a question mark, because he wanted to see what would happen next time. So about a couple of weeks later, he did it again. And again, I did not explode. Then he started to relax around me. You could see I was not that, cagey cat anymore. He started to relax like he used to be, so he could approach me, and he knew I was not going to scream at him or, whatever. And that is how we found each other again.
Wow. That's that's so sweet to listen. I just feel like just sitting back and leave you talk until tomorrow, because it's sweet. There's a lot of lessons that I'm learning from it, and something comes out of that the words you've talked about, or you've spoken just right now, and there's something you've said, that you became somebody who wasn't what your parents were. You've touched on your mom, and you've also said that there's some things that changed you. That is your friends, one, and the TV, and what you read as well. And that takes me to today's life and how relationships are not working. Because nowadays, I can say 60% of relationships are not working. And the reason being that person next to you, and not a human being, maybe is a screen, is a mobile phone, because the mobile phone has become another person in us. Long time ago, when I was still in primary school, I used to see people sitting down and, having a chat, even a family talk. But nowadays, even when I go home, we have a family discussion, but everyone is on mobile phone, until when you say, John, do you have anything to add on? Then he's absent-minded. He's like, oh, so where are we? Because the mobile phone has become another part of human being. So can we say right now that some of these relationships are dying because of not taking time like you took your time, to study yourself, to read some book and learn what you really need to do into your relationship? Because you see people struggle, but they still go to maybe their friends and tell their friends their problems. John nowadays is like this. Maybe Melody nowadays is not doing this to me. Do you think that solves this case, or how do we handle such kind of situation?
The worst thing you can ever do is go to your friends when you have relationship problems. Like I have very good friends, but you have to understand something. When you tell a story to your friends, you're telling them from your perspective, and you're going to lie. We all do that to make yourself look good. Mm-hmm. When I was relating what I was telling you right now, that was after years of looking back and realizing when I was miserable in the marriage, so was my husband. But during that time when I was miserable, I didn't notice he was miserable. I just thought he's the cause of my misery. I don't care whether he's suffering or not. So going to your friends, they will tell you they will re-emphasize how bad he is. They will also, and the most dangerous thing is, if you tell your friends or your family and they love you and they want to protect you, and then you resolve the issue, they will continue holding a grudge against your spouse after all this is resolved. And besides, they will just tell you to dump him. They will tell you to, find somebody better. They will tell you to put up with it because that's marriage. But they would not tell you how to make it better.
Wow.
Yeah. And I tried with my mom. I tried with everybody. Like, okay, I get this whole thing. I don't want to put up with it. How do I make it better? People don't tell you that. That is the reason why I do this work. Because everybody will tell you this. Marriage is work. Nobody defines what that work is. And if you're a person like me, I'm a concrete and bricks person. I need you to tell me we need 12 bricks for this wall in order for me to understand it. I'm very smart, but I also want concrete examples. So if you tell me there is work to be done, define the work. Tell me exactly what I'm supposed to do. You know what they tell you? Make sure his meals are made properly. His shirts are ironed. Make sure, I've heard people say this. Actually, you should go and draw his bath for him and make sure every day he comes from work, he gets into the bath and you clean the bath after him. You're disabling a grown human being. He is not your child. But what women are being told is treat men like children. The problem with that is you lose respect for him if you can't see him being manly. And then you just look at him as a thing. He's not a person you see because he's not capable of doing anything. He can't look after kids. He can't cook. He can't clean. He can't even draw his own bath. For goodness sake, what good is he?
Wow.
In the meantime, he resents you because you're taking away his masculinity. Men value, like if you tell a man right now, and I'm sure Brother John, you agree with me, if I tell you you're not a man right now, it will hurt you so much. If you tell me I'm not a woman, I'll tell you you're crazy. I know I'm a woman, like seriously. But you see the difference? If your girlfriend today was come saying to you or your wife, you're not a man, you will take it personally. It will hurt to the bottom of your heart. Because masculinity is a very sensitive thing for men. And it has a definition in that men in their heads know what a man does. And if a man is not doing what a man does, he is not a man. And most of us spend our time taking away all those jobs that men are supposed to do. And we expect them to feel manly. Seriously.
That's very interesting. This is very interesting, it's deleting a lot of things in our minds. Like, for example, you talking about, treat your mind like a kid. This is a word that is used everywhere, that you have to treat your mind like a kid. But the way you're explaining it is very true. So I'll take a very short break, Melody. And when we get back, we are going to look at self-love, what exactly it means to love yourself, and does it help to love yourself in a relationship, and what advantage does that have in relationship or life as a whole. So let us take a very short break and come back and continue this conversation.